Hello, everybody. I'm back from my struggles yesterday. This time I have a good friend with me, Tom Whitaker.
Hey everyone.
Tom is going to save me from my misery when there's a thing when you stream by yourself where your brain stops working, and I think by pairing, we're gonna get through it much better. So if you haven't watched yesterday, that's fine. But I've tried to implement authors as real. Here comes the audio that I have to pause. It hits me every time. So yeah, yesterday I tried to implement post authors as relationship field in Keystatic. It worked, but I didn't really have time. That was just before a meeting, and then I got stuck. So essentially, I need closure now to redo it again. So I'll switch to sharing my screen, and Tom and I are gonna go through the whole thing again. So I went back in CodeWise where I was. So for some context, there's this template that's the design Tom built, the version that's online right now. Basically, we have a list of blog posts, and the posts have authors. And as you can see, there's avatars and name, so it feels like it's a little entity. And when Tom built that last week, there was no relationship field in Keystatic. And so the way it was implemented, if I go, this is the posts collection in Keystatic. The authors were just an array of text fields because that's the best we could do back then, in absence of a relationship field. So if I open the learning loop, for example, you can see that here we have these authors, and that's an array, Boris and Jed, and this is all it is an item which is a text field. Simon Swiss. So this is how it worked. And if I save this, worth noting as well, I've switched to, if we go up here, instead of doing the GitHub thing here, I've changed to local, which means that every time I save something, it goes straight into my content locally, which is kind of nice for demos. So if I go to content and posts and open the learning loop, you can see Simon Swiss has been added now. So that's nice, and that works. But this is just text, and what we want, if we wanted avatars, that would be a little bit more complicated. Does it make sense so far, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we also didn't have the image field. So
True.
to do the images for the avatars was a little bit of a workaround as well.
Yes, yeah.
So
So we
some nice
had the
additions, which
image
mean we can
field.
do this.
We had the image field, but everything in a collection, if I go back to the Keystatic config, everything in a collection would go in that directory here. So that's a singleton, but if we go to the author collection, everything would go there. Oh, yeah, that's part of the puzzle that I actually shouldn't show you right now, but we have posts, and the author is just a text field. And what I've done yesterday that I haven't undone is I've created an author collection, which is the name and then also an avatar, which is an image field. So we're not gonna
Yeah.
go through that.
So we're currently experimenting with this on the ThinkMill website of converting all of our stuff from that across to using Keystatic, and I've got in there. There's also using a URL for, say, a Twitter profile and a bio, so we can have everything all in one, which would
Yeah,
be really nice.
yeah, that's nice. So what Tom mentioned before is last week you had this directory where everything from the author's collection would go, and now you can say, hey, the image, actually, I want another directory, and the reason we put it in public is because we're in Next.js, and then it allows us to reach that image. You can, in Next.js, you can access, like the public folder is what's available from the just /images/authors. So before we had to output the entire collection inside the public just so we could have the image, which is kind of like, you don't necessarily want markdown files and YAML files in your public directory, but now this enables us to get them. So let me show you that authors collection. If I go back up here, there's authors, and I've created Boris and Jed, and it's just an author name. Oh, I've implemented the new slug here, which is pretty cool. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna create myself just to test it out. So you'll see the slug field now. I'll put my real name this time so you can learn it. You can see how the slug is linked to that and auto-generated, which is pretty nice. Gotta choose an image of me. Now this is where, how about we use Molombi? No, I don't want to. Oh, I don't want to go through my public things in here. I have something called, let me go.
Why is there one called Boudoir Shoot in there?
Now I'm freaking out. How do I make just a list? Yeah. No, columns. Okay, if I go to public, I think in public I have my public. You can get to see all my stuff. Public. Yeah, so I'll go this good old classic when I was 27 years old, I think. All right. So now I have 3 authors, me included. And what I want to do is go in. So what we want to do now is go in this learning loop post, and instead of having them as text, and this Simon Swiss has nothing to do with the author I just created, that's just text, I want to create a relationship author thing. So instead of, in the post collection, instead of deleting the existing authors, because that's going to break the template and stuff, I think I'll just create a new one. And so if you watched yesterday, I did something like this: related authors fields.relationship, which is the new one. And I went, the label for that is post author. And it needs a collection as well to know where to. The collection name authors is linked to that collection name here precisely.
Which is probably going to be the most used case for this, where a blog post or an article or something is written by a single person, whereas our use case that we're going to get into is a little bit more collaborative and sort of opens it up a bit, right?
Yeah, correct. I imagine usually, like, there's a lot of cases for one-to-one relationships. Let me close a few things so I can see clearly. So doing this here, I'll just show, I won't use this, but I'll show you what happens. So it creates a field that lets you choose one author. So if I go back here, it's already there. That's one thing that trips me out in a very good way with Keystatic, is when you change the config, you come back and it's already live reload. So here now I can select one of the 3 authors that I've created in the authors collection, which is nice. And so if I save this now and I go back, remember I'm in local storage, so everything instantly comes in. I can see now me as the related author. And it's me as the slug of the entry. Yeah, it doesn't have the avatar, doesn't have the name, it's just the actual slug. But it's the slug lets us go and read what we need. But it's just one. So instead of just displaying that one, we're going to go straight up to where I tried to go at the end of the stream yesterday, which was, I should just have gone, yeah, okay. I will change that. Related authors. Actually, let's comment it out and I might grab some data from it. But the solution to have multiple authors is to have, like here, an array of fields and then have the relationship here. But yesterday in the stream, I kind of had the wrong syntax, so I was pretty close, but I didn't do it properly. So now I know. So let's go related authors. Is that how it's called? Yeah.
Yep.
And it's going to be fields.array. And inside here, we're going to have our fields dot fields fields dot I rely on the autocomplete. If it's not there, it means I did something wrong. Relationship.
Yep.
And here the label. So basically here I can go and grab these 2 lines and uncomment them. So I think that's already going to be better, but it's the way it's set up now, it's going to look a bit confusing. First of all, because I changed yeah, because I changed the field type, my data is not correct. So let me just go here and remove that. Keystatic sees it and is like, hey, it's an array field, but you have a string. What's up with that? So now we should have the post back on, but nothing selected. So see, now it's called items. And I was like, what? What is items? And the reason is because when you create a relationship field, you can have a second options object, which is where you can pass the label and stuff like this. So now if I call this authors, as you can hear the neighbor starting to mow the lawn. I don't know if you can hear, but it's getting in the mic a bit. So now I've labeled it authors, and look at this. Whoa! So it's exactly, we're at the same spot as here. And I just realized that I could have looked at what was in the line below, but yesterday while streaming, my brain didn't think that far. So now I can go and add authors, but instead of having a text field, I have a selection for an author. How nice is that? So you see the next problem. The next problem is it's called item 1, item 2, which is very poor UX. So if you look down there, there's this item label that we can copy and borrow. It's not happy because it cannot be null. It needs to be a string at all times. And there's no guarantee. So let's say if the props value is not defined, please select an author. That's kind of like a workaround, but it's gonna look pretty nice. So now you can see it comes up with the slugs. Speaking with the team, we'll be able to pull up the name and even the avatar if we want later, but for now it's just showing the slug. And if I add one, it comes with please select an author. So if I accidentally do not select one, it's going to be hey, and there's probably ways to make it required as well. So let's add.
Yeah, I think the required is still coming, because I have seen that's one thing it's really waiting on in things coming down the line, which will be great.
Yeah, that will be great. And it's worth noticing there's these little handles. You can change the order, and it will change the order of the array. So I was gonna say we want to add Jed Watson, and let's put him first. So if you drag Jed at the top, then it's going to come in this order. When you, of course, you can sort it in the front end, but if you want to prepare your array, so let's save this, Tom, and see what we have in the post. I feel like now we're gonna have an array. That's this little lined list is an array in YAML. So we have a 3 array of slugs, which gets us one step closer to do what we want to do. Let's find the individual post, which is that. But instead of doing that, which is a bit too simple, I thought for this stream to spice it up a bit, we could try to do
We're going to do this stacked one? Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a bit more interesting. I'm a Tailwind guy, and there's some fun Tailwind stuff to do here. Because you have to kind of grab the avatars individually, and then the names, and there's this little end. I think it's a bit more fun than just displaying them side by side. So, yeah, feel free to jump in at any time.
So we're going to change the related authors' names to be, instead of full name, to be first name, last name?
I didn't think. I'll just put the whole name. Like we could. I don't want to do the thing where you just trim it to the first space, because there's some people with a middle name or like some.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't want to make us. We're gonna go Jed Watson, Simon Rushley, yeah. Yep.
Cool.
But if you wanted to make that design, the simple solution would be in the CMS, or strip them out, or just literally call it just Jed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not here in the authors here. All right, so check this out. Currently, if I go, you can see the post Tom, and then there's the 3 here. If we go in a post, it's just a text string, or it's an array. So if this happens in the code, in the post templates, we have a catch-all dynamic route for posts. And then the data gets passed with its Next.js. So there's the get static path to generate the HTML pages and get static props to pass the data. And then if we look currently, the way it's set up is it looks for post author and then it maps through the array and just outputs a p tag. So we're gonna do our work. I'm gonna leave that intact, and we're gonna do our work here, just above. Let's build stuff here. So if I save this, I can show you. This is where we're gonna do our damage. A lot of damage. Let me see if there's comments. Oh, you can see the comments too. I always wonder. The reason I like to see comments is it makes me know we're live, because sometimes they're like, what if it disconnected like 2 hours ago? Do we have any comments? How do we see comments?
I think we have one in the
comments. That's interview comments. Ah, here's a comment. Looks similar to Payload CMS. I've never used Payload CMS. I know it's similar to Keystone, and Keystatic and Keystone have a lot of DNA shared, so there's definitely probably some overlap. I haven't played with it myself.
I mean, a CMS looks like a CMS, don't they?
Yeah, they all end up doing similar things. All right, so let's build stuff right here. And so what I want to do now is first fetch the data for our extra authors. So I'm going to do step by step. If you look at get static props here, what we do is we use Keystatic's reader to get the data for the post.
Yep.
Yeah. And so to start with, if I console.log here, the post, I think I have to refresh the page before it shows me the, what am I doing? I'm on the wrong screen. If I refresh the page here, it's gonna tell us here with the little extension.
Yeah.
So we have a title, summary,
That
publish
is
date.
Console Log Ninja. If anyone's, is that
Yes.
Console Log Ninja? Because I think I have that one as well. It's such a good plugin.
Yep. If I go to extension, I think with X, yeah, it's this one, Console Ninja.
Yeah, Console Ninja. Such a good one.
Yeah. So we have a post, title, summary, publish date, and look at this. We have our related authors, 3 arrays. So technically, we could already, where we do our stuff here, we could just go pre-tag, JSON stringify, post, related authors, null 2. We could already, look at this, we have the data. But what we want to do, I've already achieved more in this stream by talking to you instead of myself than I did yesterday in like 45 minutes. So what we want to do is use the Keystatic's reader API to go read each author based on the slug, so we can have the image, the name, and all the good stuff. Does it
the thing I like about this, which is already reaching way beyond this, is I love the idea of having this so we can plan to have an author's page where you click on Simon Swiss and it will go to writing/Simon, and then it will have all of your related articles, which we can, is that the beauty of those relationship things.
Yeah. And because we have the slug, you can create the route based on the slug. It's like, it's all nice.
Everything becomes super neat.
Yeah, I like it too. So what we want to do is somewhere before we pass the data here to our component, we kind of want to not just return either transform that, or we want to just, I don't know if I want to transform the related authors array to be, instead of 3 slugs, it's 3 objects. We can do that, or just name it differently. But basically, if there's no related authors, it's going to be an empty array. So what we can do is, let's do like this. Const, I might change that later, but const authors data equals await. And now this is tricky because we're not just awaiting one thing like here, we awaiting one for each post. So I will have to do a bit of JS promise dot all. So we're gonna wait a bunch of promises, and here we're going to go post dot relation authors dot map, and for each author slug, so basically this is an array of slug, yeah. So for each author slug, and this is where always
I do something very similar on the index page because we're getting multiple collections and a singleton on the index page. So there is very much this of we're building individual async functions and then promising them all on return for getting all the static props in the end. So there's the homepage for the singleton, there's all the posts, and there's also an external article. There's post data and external article data, because we're basically in this page, we're taking two collections of things that we've written internally, as well as things like stuff from the Keystone blog that we want to link to, and smashing them all together into one feed, which is what we currently do on the website. So it's a bit of a mix of bringing everything into one.
That's really nice. Yeah, so I'm doing the same thing here. I'm basically awaiting all promises, and then for each slug, author slug, I want to. I don't even know. I could return this straight away, but let's do like this so it's a bit more readable. Const author maybe equals. Here I will await the individual one. Await reader that. So now I can go reader that collections. We want the authors that reads, and read expects. You can see here an ID which is a slug, so I can pass the author slug here. Yeah. And so let's try this. Author. I'll try again. Again, it's red because type. Well, what have I done?
No, you're missing a closing on the promise at all.
Yeah, I think when I went to the line, I delete promise 1, 2, promise that all. Here.
Yeah, just there. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Prettier, for just making things jump. All right, so if I refresh that page, we should have the log here. So look at this. For each author, I have the name and avatar. And you might think, perfect, this is all I need. But it's not. Because to be able to, that's where I got stuck yesterday, to be able to get the path to the image, because we're storing the image in, while I explain this, let me go back to the config. We're storing the image for the author, where am I? For the authors, we're storing the image in the public directory. So we're gonna have to construct that to get that image with like a dynamic path, and it's gonna need the slug. Let me just close the window, because when the leaf blower starts, it goes crazy. All right. So now I'm gonna start sweating in 2 minutes, but that's the price, the name of the game.
We have a viewer who is up very early in Pakistan in the morning, just looking at the comments.
Oh yeah. That's dedication. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done. Where's my comment window? I should be on top of all this. Comment. 5:40 a.m. Beautiful. Well, we're glad you're learning something new. Imagine getting up at 5:40 and getting bored and not getting anything out of it. That's great. Thanks for joining. So, yeah, we want to also have the slug somehow. So, it might sound tricky, but the slug is already here. We've used that. We've used the slug to be able to read that specific entry. So, instead of return author, instead of just returning the author, what we want to do is return an object where we return the entire author object, and slug is author slug. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm basically, this author's data will now have the author object, an array of them, but also author slug. So instead of console log, this is red because TypeScript, the way it's set up currently, and that's why you can help me, Tom, later. Let's show it on screen first, but it's not expecting this authors thing, I think. Anyway, let's try to here. We return a post, and how about we return authors as well? And we pass the authors data. So basically, we kind of intercepted once we have the post data, we're like, hey, let's prepare the author's data, and then we can pass it here. So what my hope is, I might have done something wrong because this is live, but my hope is if now I also accept the authors here, we should be able, instead of doing post related authors, we should be able to see what's in each authors. If I've done things right, I'm expecting this to be an array of 3 objects with a name, avatar, and slug. What are the odds? What are the odds? 10%? Yeah, it's not there. Oh, it is there.
There we go. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I've been wanting to use that clap for a while. Yesterday was more.
All right, I think we should just leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next.
Yesterday was like the last 10 minutes were like. And then I was like, oh, let's change. Let's put a cat and try something. It didn't work either. So, all right. So look at this. Now we have an array of stuff. So now is the part where I can comfortably say, now I am cooking with fire because all I have to do now is to write some Tailwind stuff. So let's look at the designs. We want overlapping avatars. We're going to have 3 actually because there's Simon Swiss as well. And then the names. So the way I would do this and the way I will do this is crack my fingers first. So I'm seeing a flex container with a gap of 4 and item center. And this is going to be wrapping everything. It's going to wrap that and that. So if I draw a little square, that's the flex container I did. And then inside of it, we're going to do some array.map and stuff to get, go away, to get that and then that. So for the avatars, I'm going to have an ordered list, which is also flex. And here, we're going to go authors.map. And for each author, we are going to return an li item with the key of author.slug. Do you still need the key? I don't know. I've used Astro for too long and you don't need the key, so I'll put it here. Can't hurt. Oh yeah, I don't know. So look at this. Instead of author select, let's try to see if it works. Author.name. Just to see, hey, look at this. Now, Tom, I'm not happy with this. This bullet point here means there is a prose tag. There it is. I'm going to, I mean, that's fine, but I want to work without prose, so I'll just add not prose here. So it should opt out of the prose styles. Yeah, okay. So we've got the 3 names.
Mm-hmm.
And now instead of the name, we want the image. In last stream, I imported the image tag from Next. The reason I didn't use image with all the letters is because there is a component called like this.
We have a custom component, which we use for captioning, and we can pass some custom stuff to it. For the display page where we're rendering the authors, do you just want to comment out the bit below that where it's using our old way of doing it? So if you just scroll down a little bit, then where we're actually rendering it.
In the code? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you just comment that one out so it's not sort of overlapping with what's there.
Legacy. Remove.
Just to make it a bit easier to view.
Done. Yeah, and I'll put one at the end as well. Is that the span? Oh, no, it's like this. 3 on each side? That's clear now. All right, so yeah, good point. So instead of that, I'm gonna have the image. So I'll use Next.js's image component,
Mm-hmm.
img. So it expects a source and then width and height. So let's go src to do width. I want, let's go 48 pixels, height 48 pixels. Okay, so now we need to do the fun stuff of figuring out the image path. So remember, we stored our images in, actually, instead of say remember, I should show you. We stored our images. Oh my god, Keystatic. Oh, that's a good look at a random, but like this is the output of the Mark doc where you can see the custom banner, which is a component, which is nice. But it's for
And
an industry.
I love in the conversations I've had about like why MarkDoc and why do we pick MarkDoc and the ability to just swap it in and out. So where it's just saying, oh well, this is a banner, that will do nothing with it unless you feed it a component. But depending on what you're in, you just have to declare it in whatever you like. So if you're using Svelte, it's just feeding it a Svelte component. If you're using Astro, it's feeding it something else. If it's rather than sort of having to hard code in, oh, I'm using Banner, which is a React component inside an MDX file. It sort of leaves it open to pick it up and move it.
Yeah, this is a better example because it's the kitchen sink, so it has all the custom components.
There's a lot of components in there.
Yeah. So worth mentioning, this comes from, if I go in kitchen sink, this is the content thing where you have all these custom Twitter embed, YouTube embed, banner, inline CTA, all that stuff. And you can access all of these kind of like in Notion. If you go slash and then you can choose the one you want. Slash commands, or you can go here and select them here. They're all custom React components that are defined.
Yep.
I won't save that. But the nice thing is the output of this is this content.markdoc thing that you can see here. And you don't have to import the components at the top. It's just literally Markdown plus this like fancy, literally React components written in Markdoc. So these are the props that you pass.
If you want to jump over to the way we have, I think there's a file called component blocks in components. Yeah. So this is actually how we are displaying all of our stuff inside of the document renderer, which is where you're declaring which. So if you go to the top of that, you'll see that we're importing all of our components. And this is how we are defining like which component we use when there is the word banner of like, oh, this is meant to be a banner. And then when we get there, it goes, that's the one I want.
Yeah, and this is the preview, which is how it comes up in the admin UI. So the reason it shows as an embedded video is because here, if I search for YouTube embeds, the preview
that one's in the config.
Oh,
yeah. So these ones are for the renderer, but the one in Keystatic config.
No, I thought these ones with the preview is what you pass to the. Let's go.
Oh yeah, that is the right one. Yep. Because you define it in preview.
Yeah,
so if you just leave that out, yeah. So if we commented out divider or inline CTA, we won't get the actual React component showing it, but we'll still get a block that'll say there's a component here, and you can still edit everything.
Oh, you still need to define it. Yeah, sorry. I'll just comment out the preview.
Yeah.
Although you need to have a preview that's
null. So if you just set it, it's just preview arrow function for null, returning null, which means that we will still get the ability to use that component, but where we have used it, YouTube embed. So if you click edit, you still get the things that we need. We just don't preview the final result, which is like means you can build. But if you want that really nice experience, bringing in that component and showing it, now we have a really nice experience for editing of saying like, yep, that is the right component that we're meant to use, and we know how it's going to look and flow.
Yeah. So now I've added this, and like, hey, here's your video. How nice is that?
It's so
That's nice.
nice. Also leveraging the layout in inside of
columns.
the document. Oh, so good. I was using
Yes.
it working on another project with undisclosed, but using Keystatic for a doc site for a design system. So having a 3-up layout of all the variants possible, or all the state variants possible for loading, ready to go, and disabled, and showing them horizontally across the page is really nice.
Yeah. Hi, Doug. I have my father-in-law working from here because he's doing some fixes on the camper trailer, and the trailer is parked in our front yard. So the dog is like not putting up with that. Where were we? This is great to show this. Here.
I think we got sidetracked, but yeah, we were back in the yeah.
It's good. It means we're doing. If I go to the Keystatic config.
Yep.
Right now, our authors have the avatar output in public images. So if I go /images /authors in my path, it's going to look from that.
Do you just want to show how that's built in the file system when we go into public in images?
Very
because
good.
it does.
That's why
it does some really nice.
Yeah. So having the content here goes into content authors. So if I go to content authors, this is where we have the slug creates the folder name, and then you have the data with like the name, the image. Where is the image?
The image is just referenced.
Oh,
because we're referencing. Yeah.
Yes, I just because it used to be all together. So now, if I go back here, the directory for the images is public images authors. So we have to go to public images, and then you'll see the same slugs that mirror what's in here. And this is why we needed to pass the slug, because if I want my image, I needed to find it inside public images authors and then author slug. And Jed's here, and Boris is here. So that's beautiful, and this is set because of this directory here.
Yep. So you can, a little sidetrack, you can do that as well with content that's coming in. So in another example project we're running, using that design system, we want to co-locate each docs instance of Keystatic having a markdoc file. We want that to be in relation to that actual component. So we're setting where it is, and it goes off and makes it in the relational sense of, if it's talking about the button component, it should be stored in the button/docs folder.
Yeah, that's great. That's super powerful.
I'm sure we'll stream an example like that soon.
Yeah. So I've copied that path, although typing it wouldn't be too hard, but I'll start my path like this. And then this is where it gets interesting. I want to, I have multi-cursor. I definitely don't want that. I want to reach for the author slug. And this is why we needed to pass it all along. I didn't use it for the key. I mean, I used it for the key, but that wasn't the reason we brought it along. The reason was to be able to reach for dynamic path for the image. And then technically all of these take the name. If I go back to my public, they all have the avatar.png name. Oh no, JPEG. So yeah, you can't really rely. I could go like I could grab the name of the file from the content here because it has information on the image. But I don't want to do this. I want to do it dynamically. So no, actually, I want to do exactly what I showed. What I want here is to pass author.avarat. So it's red again because TypeScript says, you don't have an author thing. It's unknown. Please specify. But we can fix that after. What I wanted first is to have some gratification by going. Okay, so what have we done? Author is not defined. It is defined. I'm gonna refresh. Oh, it is not defined. Authors that map author. We pass the authors. Yeah.
Is authors coming in fine? Authors.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
Just hover over authors for a second.
Restart for a second. Thanks for testing app, dear. An array of unknown. Okay, let's sometimes restarting. No, it's not restarting. All right, so let's here. I'm gonna just hijack the whole page. So it just says hello. There you go. And here I'll console log what we have in author. So now I'm not in get static props anymore. I'm in the components. So it's going to come in. What? Oh, I like this little little robot with 4 eyes. I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, it's not happy at all. See, that's where streams go to. Oh, it's authors to start with. Okay, so we have an array here of 3. They're here. Okay. So that works. So then authors. Bruh.
What is, so if you hover on authors, what is authors? Is that?
Sorry, I'm ignoring.
Feel like it. That's fine. I feel like it's gonna be.
Can it be Yeah, there it is. It's there.
Okay.
Authors. I feel like maybe it's something to do with the image thing that does something on the server before. Let's try just a p tag. And this is where sometimes when you stream alone, things go to third really quick. Yeah, so I've got the names. So it's the image component. I've done something wrong. You know what? Sorry, Lee Rob, if you're watching, I'm going to use a normal image tag. I know it's probably gonna hurt a kitten somewhere. And then and then I will try to make it work. Maybe there's something with there's a prop that you have to say load lazy or defer or something. I feel like it's trying to access something before it's set. I don't know. Again, when I'm on stream, my brain decides to no. Okay, so it's gonna be So I know what it is. It's not Tor. And I mean, if we had TypeScript with the red would tell us, but because the red tells us everything, it did not help. Okay, Lee Rob, I take it back. I'm gonna use the image. Let's go back. And so the problem was that I don't know how to type. And I don't know how to read because before I save, it's gonna tell here author is not defined. So this should have been a hint. in a normal world, I would have seen that. Hey, look at this. So now is my time to shine.
They're always my favorite type of errors. They're always the best ones.
Yeah. And I'm sure if I go in the comments, there we go. That's what I learned in my last stream. If I go in the comments, someone will have found it and is trying to, guys, stop there. Once I almost rage quit a stream when I was trying to show the reader API in the very early days of Keystatic, and I was like, this makes Keystatic look really bad. And I went in the comments literally just before closing the live, and everyone said, you wrote get static pops. There's an art, like there was 15 comments. I tried everything.
This is why you need to check the chat often.
Yeah. Check you live and check people help you. Thanks very much, Luis. This is okay. So look at this. We have these three. I'm going to hide this and delete this so we can focus on what we're actually building, which I think is what you meant by commenting out. I just realized. I just realized now. Yes,
above that, in between the massive code blocks you've already put. Yeah.
that I can't see now. And the other thing is the p tag that I did here to debug. Okay, so now we should be left with just the three avatars. And now this is going to be fun. Look at this. This is where the Tailwind magic happens. We're going to add the class name to this image tag. Please tell me
Could you do me a favor in the Keystatic editor before, because it annoys me? The files I sent you of the ones of Jed and Boris, so they're not the already rounded images that you've exported from Figma?
Yes. Okay.
Just because it annoys me.
Yeah, fair enough. So yesterday...
Again, check the chat. Again, Simon doesn't check the chat.
Yeah. I got to check Slack as well. I got to check internal Slack. So Tom sent me yesterday, I'm looking to the left on the other screen. He sent me 2 images. So I'm going to now go and upload them. So they're not like 12 pixel round with a little rounded border. This is a fair comment. I'll take this. So authors, Boris. Let's replace Boris's image with, oh, look at this. There they are. So it's slightly bigger, and it's good. It's just a way to show that the CMS actually, we're not faking stuff. It's actually working. So now, as soon as I save these, go back to the UI. Let's refresh and see. Now we got 3 people square. And the reason they're so small is I haven't put any Tailwind classes yet, but I have put width and height. So if these were 480, they would be bigger. But we go 48 because I think I'm going to go with the scale of 12 in Tailwind. So speaking of width 12, height 12, that's not going to change anything. It's just going to make it match these intrinsic sizes. But rounded, full, rounded, dull. Testing the chat at this point. So look at, now it's round. And because we in the, look at this, this is cool. Because we are in flex, I can add gap 4. And it's going to create a gap. I never tried this. Let me try this live on stage. I think I can go negative gap 4, which should do a negative gap. Is that a thing? No, it's not a thing. So that's not a thing, but what I can do instead of a gap is use the space X. Let's go 4, so it would do the same sort of thing as gap. Not really, but the result would be the same. And space X does have negative. So it's basically going to have a negative margin between each element except the last one. This is that's another example of like CSS variable composition. This is pretty cool. So now look at this. I haven't saved it. When I save this, oh, look at this. Look at the design. So
there we go.
See, there's that little rounded border here.
There we go.
And I went with 4 because 4 is like a third of 12, and it looks to me like it's kind of, I haven't checked. I haven't tried to measure the gap between these two, but it feels like 4 is pretty good. Now look at this. In my image, I'm going to add a ring. Ring by itself is 3 pixel white, so it's gonna look very close. Oh no, it's blue, sorry. And 3 pixel. I want ring -2 and ring white. So ring adds a box shadow, so it doesn't change. If I added a border, it would make the image a little bit smaller, which is not really a big deal. But the ring is more like a shadow that happens to be 0 blur, so it's like a strong fixed shadow. So
which is also used for doing that if you want to have that as a hover state, because it won't cause any jump.
Yeah, exactly. If focus hover. Yeah. So look at this now. My trackpad doesn't have any battery, so I don't know how to zoom with my mouse, but I can zoom with that stuff.
Just lean in. Everyone, just lean into your screen.
Jed's a bit blurry, but I might increase go retina with the double dimensions. Look at this. Look at this. I said jet, but it's all three of us. Blurry. And also I'm zoom at 250%. And I'm on the live stream.
Yeah, you've just blown 48 pixels up to be about 400 pixels wide. So,
I mean, now I changed the width, but because of these classes, it will still render. I don't think that's how you do retina images. I think the next image stuff does it already with the add 2x, and it has all the fancy. Look at this. It's going to have the source set with 1x, 2x. Yeah, so I guess so. You have the biggest size, and then it decides which one to render. Intrinsic size 256. Oh, whatever. I'm exposing myself right now. So look at this.
It has a quality for optimizing. Okay, interesting.
It does.
Which you can be
you can say
between 1 and 100. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So we have these, and then you know what? It feels cluttered because just next to under there's the text. So I'll just add some. Is that the publish date? Yeah. Let's put it on the here. I'll go empty 4 here instead of just for the sake of now, so it kind of breathes a bit. So now we're gonna display the names, and you might think it's simple, but it's actually it would be simple to just display just the name. So we have the unordered list with the images. Remember, we're inside the flex container. So here we will have the other one and the items center, so they're gonna be aligned already. So I could do another unordered list and then go authors. I'm scared. That map author, and then render an li item with author.name and the key. I won't put the key because I'll delete that line. But this will display all the names. And what we want is what do we want? We want just the names with a little ampersand in between, and I guess if there's 3, it would be Boris, Jed, and Simon. So that's a lot of, like, you write some JavaScript like, oh, how do I handle all the case? Check this out. I think I've used it a while ago. Let's see if I can pull it off. I'm gonna do this outside. I'm gonna render here something called formatted names, and the thing is gonna explode because it doesn't exist. Yes. Now up here, const formatted names equals authors.map for each. Oh my god, this is like 3D. Go away. Escape. Author for each author. I want just the name, author.name. So now it's an array of 3 names. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go const names equals that, and now const formatted names equals. So we have an array, and we want to separate it with commas and the nice, like Oxford comma and the and all that nice stuff. So there is a international EINTL. How is it called? Oh, look at this! I've got autocomplete. Oh, this is so nice. I think it's list format. Creates object. It's too little to see. Let's try this. And if I have autocompletion, I will scream. Oh, so good. So you need a locale. We're in Australia here, so I think it's English AUS. AU.
I think it's just AU, I think.
Yeah. Let's try just this. And then how do you do it? Dot. Oh my god. Oh, dot format. And we're gonna pass our names. So because I'm rendering it down here, when I save this, I should see on screen formatted names. Okay, let's check the comments. What have I done wrong? Oh, no comments. Formatted names. Ah, see there, formatted names.
Names.
Yeah, it's plural. It was singular. look at this. Jed Watson, comma, Boris, and Simon. So, like I said before, we could trim, like, that you could up here, when you get the names, just stop at the first space and keep, but it's making assumption that there's no first name with spaces and stuff, which I don't want to do. The one thing I would do to get closer to the design, I don't know if there's an option. There's probably is. Here, I think you can pass options. What are our options? TypeScript. Okay, I used to hate TypeScript, and now it's like literally saving me. Style, type, style. What do we have for style? Do you have suggest? Oh my god. Maybe short.
Brilliant.
Maybe short is what we need. No. What's long? Dear madam and sir. Jerry, that's the same. What about compact? What is it? Narrow? Yeah, good, narrow. Oh, it's just come out. All right. Well, this is. I'm not gonna.
So was there a format one or something like that?
No, there's style and type.
A type, yeah.
What's type? Conjunction. Oh, that's cool. I bet that's and that's or. Let's try it. That's what it reads to me like. Hey,
hey, there we go.
Who wrote
How
this?
good.
Who wrote this?
Yeah, it was either these two people or Simon. Yeah.
And maybe conjunction does the. It's like I refuse to type the word because I know I can autocomplete it. Okay, so it's still end. Maybe there's. Is anyone in the comments know? Otherwise, what I would think of doing is get rid of the options here. And just at the end, once we formatted it, go replace. So string replace will replace end with end. Am I doing some incredible sin that kills performance here? I don't think so. Look at that. Look at that. Now, just to feel incredibly designery, I will save the three authors. Oh, go away sidebar. I'll save the three authors with just the first name, Bori and Simon. All right, without doing anything, live reload. Where do I go? Down, up, up. Refresh. Hey.
Perfect.
I mean.
Yeah, I think in terms of this design sort of does call for a bit of massaging of the way we've got the author schema set up. So, having it as a separate first name and separate last name, because for a single author, we want to show both, but for a multi-author, we just want to show the first names of everyone. Like that would be
so what you're saying.
So yeah, you can just massage that in
first
the
name,
Keystatic.
last name in the form. So then it's clear you can, like, if there's a last name, which is like.
So then as we're displaying it, would just be like, if the author's length is 1, show first name, last name. Other than that, do this multi-list. Yeah.
And you can have a util function that kind of does the full name by taking both, whatever, if you use it often. Computed prop.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few util functions in this project that are like the date formatter is essentially just doing that in date FNS. But I've sort of typed 2 formats for what format of date, so you get autocomplete on that, which is a little bit nice. So you can just add out the structure and you just get autocomplete on it, which is a little bit neat.
Sweet. Yeah, and the thing I've just done would be a nice util, like a format list, and then you just have this consistently across the project.
Ooh, there's a comment in the chat that we can use the split to display first name. And we just split it at the space.
Yeah, so I thought of that, but I was
which would only be painful because the multi-name systems would be.
There's a bunch of countries where people have space, like they have 2 names, like, or if I want my name to show as Simon Paul, which is my middle name, I don't want it. But if I wanted that, you you couldn't detect where to split between the first and last name. But yes, well,
double last names as well that are not hyphenated. Like mine's Stothard Whitaker, so that's a double.
Yeah, all the in Netherlands, 80% of people have Van in front of their names and Ben in
true.
like So, but what to just illustrate what the comment meant is you can go that split. Well, now I've removed it, but you would go that split and you split by space, and then you keep the first one, which is like the first index of, because when you do split, you just create, oh, I don't know if I've done it right, but yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, that's the concept of it. We're taking split and at a space, we want to get rid of everything beyond that. Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this international thing has like a local thing for names, because most countries have like a convention around like, yeah, I don't know. There's so many untapped. It's like the temporal stuff for dates, and this thing I never use them, but every time I see Westboss say, "Oh, did you know you can do this?" and I'm like, "What?" I literally always reach for library or write some if array item is last, then use and, like, just write your own implementation that's gonna be less bulletproof. All right, so the main reason I thought you could join me on here, although it was great to have you all along, is I have extended the authors here in the thing, and I think because the type is inferred from get static props, this is why it is not happy about this author thing. I need to somewhere tell. So since you built all of that and you've done more TypeScript than me, do you have an idea where to start to make the types happy?
Still getting the correct types.
Oh, can you say that again? Oh, of course, this is when your internet.
Oh yeah, it's going out horribly. Where we have posts and then authors, is post still getting the correct types?
In this file, you mean?
Yeah.
I think. Oh, what happens is here we've added the related authors thing. No overload. See, when I see overload, I'm like, what is that word? I don't. Should we get Matt Pocock on the stream live? Wake him up.
Yeah,
no, he can help me.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd
I think if you say TypeScript 3 times in a mirror, he appears in the stream, doesn't he?
I like 50% chance of finding him on Twitter now and say, hey, here's a link. Just come save us. No, we won't do that today, but I'd love to stream with Matt for once. So here,
because
what I've learned with TypeScript is I always have to scroll at the bottom of that's when the message starts making more sense. But it's because I added Matt's. Have you seen Matt Pocock's?
Oh yeah, I've got that. It's the only way I can get through the day now with TypeScript error stuff.
Matt. So see, now it's like, I mean, this is still doesn't speak like I know that it's two different types, but.
So we're using the infer get static props on our
posts.
Yep. And then what we can do is
but so like I've never used infer get static props, but what it tells me is it infers whatever's returned from get static props, which is here. Yeah, that's what it sounds. That's the next type thing. Yeah.
So if you go back to where am I? If you go to the index file, we use at the very top under all the imports, there's export type post props and external article props, which are all using the infer get static prop types. And then we feed them further down when we call the map of. So line 25 where we've got export external prop types.
Hang on a second. Settings. The minimalist in me is going to do one thing. Is that. Oh, what? It's off. Why? If it's off, but it's commented out, it should be on, right? Line numbers. Hey, I don't know what I've done, but it's here. For that page, I have to reload the window. Give me the line page.
So it's going to be a jump between index and all posts, the component at the bottom. But at the very top of this file, we have
Hang on, but all
the-
post is used for the all post is used for the grid on the homepage. Yeah, for that.
yeah. But that is a mix of internal articles and external articles, which have
Yes.
the different prop stuff. So in the very top of index, underneath all the imports, we've got our
Post
where we're
props.
setting them based on posts, based on external articles, and that kind of stuff. And then in the all posts, we go a step further and we're assigning them to a type. So it's a little bit different because we're
Okay, so
with
import
this.
them here. Yeah.
Yeah. So this extra step is because when we are rendering all the posts, because we have two different types, we're going to have two different methods. So we're actually adding a type to it of a post or external type. So in the map function down below that,
you can go if post.
Yeah, we're checking for what kind of type it is. Then we know what component to feed
Right.
it and what styles to feed it.
Yeah.
But if you go back to index, we have we use those. So when we're doing the info get static prop types, we're also setting what prop types it should be. So for posts, it should be inferring off of the posts. So theoretically,
because
we
I've
could do
added,
that. Yeah. So because because that was I was saying, if we go to
we've added that thing now, so we need to tell.
yeah, but if you
Because
go
the first
slightly
one
down,
just looks for that. Yeah. Sorry.
because inside of that post function, if you hover on post
In the file I'm here now.
Yeah, yep. If you go hover onto post there, just below that. So that's still getting its types. And then if you hover on authors, cool.
And finally,
So,
I saw authors in here, but that's the one, the string one from before.
yeah.
So it's not.
So
Okay.
So what we can do is we're inferring static inferring static props, but at the minute we're only doing it on the posts one. So we want to kind of use this style. In my head, how this is working, Matt Pocock, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
But we're going that step further of like we are inferring the types, the prop types that we want, but we know what shape they're roughly going to be in. So we want to have the authors one, which is going to be based off authors. We want to have posts based off posts, and then we can feed them into that object. Whether that works or not is a different story.
I've done complete random thing while you were. I've duplicated that and tried to reach for the infer get static props. Do I need to import
this on?
Because on this page there's nothing about authors.
Which files this in? This is in
That's
index?
the home page, yeah. And technically we need that because on the home page you also have these.
Yeah, we're not doing that on the homepage yet, are we?
Well, we've done the work for this stream. We've done in the entry here.
Yeah.
Really, we should
so
do
let's,
it. Yeah.
Let's see if we can just do it in the post one, and if that works, that will be.
So should I bring what I've done in the other page?
Yeah, I would go into where we have post, and then even if you just go to, so if you go up a little bit further to where we go, actually,
can I grab this and do that? Because on our homepage it's doing the get static props. Where's get static props on this page here? Yeah, so it has get post data, which doesn't have anything about authors. Oh shit, sorry. So what about if in get post data here I do the extra thing? So I can post slugs, post data. Yeah, that. Oh, hang on. We are like inside a promise.all. We're gonna do another promise. No.
Yeah, no. Let's go back. Let's just try and get it working on the post file first, and then see if that's the secret source, and then we'll need to move it back up.
Okay, I'm on the
so
post file now.
Where we go, export default function posts. Let's specifically, so where we've got the authors and posts, let's wrap that in curly and set that to be, that's going to be for posts. So that infer get, so we're going to make an infer get static prop types for each of them, but we're going to specify that this one should be for the post. So at the very end of that, we're going to add.
Is it like this?
We're going to add the
and the autocomplete.
Yeah, square brackets and then posts. Yep, and then number.
What's the number doing?
As an array after that?
The index.
I think it's because it's an array.
Is it a string?
Yes, so it's because posts and authors are an array. It's gonna do magical TypeScript stuff.
So it's a number, like it's it's not.
If you hover on post, it's because post is coming back as an array. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then okay, so it's gonna get the index 1, index 2, or index 0, 1, 2. Yeah.
Yep. So and then the number, and then we're going to do the same for authors, but with the authors. Oh, actually, for post,
I'm gonna control space and select authors.
So post we can get rid of, I think, because post at this point is an individual one. So we can get rid of number off post, because in the other example we're doing all post.
Yeah, it's one.
So,
So now what do we get here? Unknown.
Good. Okay, so that didn't work at all. Fantastic. Hang
on, did I do the syntax right? There's the parameters passed and then the type object. Yeah.
So what is on authors? What does that hover on now?
Unknown.
So just below that, in the where you've got names equals authors. Type unknown. Okay. An author is type any.
If you're joining now, we're stuck in TypeScript land. We've achieved the stream is a success. We're trying to polish it off by fixing the types so it's not red everywhere. Yeah, so I've never used infer. So well, I get that, but then type of get static props. Oh, look at this. Get static prop posts, blah blah blah. And there's authors here. But then if I go just here, I hover just that, it should be just the author. Yeah, it's exactly that. And if I hover this one, it's unknown. I would expect that this thing was that. Did I type it wrong? Authors. Yeah. Come on, comments.
Get static props. That's strange because that seems to be in.
I'll do the DVD bouncing thing until someone helps us.
What if we're not defining them there and we move them out to be as in like export type of
that's how
post props? Can't hurt, right?
Well, if I can't type, it will. So here you'd go like infer.
That will be that one. Yep. So we just take that whole line.
Do we have? We don't have to export it actually, but
I'm thinking we do the same for.
Well, it's gonna technically it should do the exact same thing than before.
I mean, yes, the answer of we should probably pass all of this down from
from the homepage.
From the homepage, yes.
It's like I do not recognize this. Oh, it's authors. Oh, it was authors already. Yeah, okay. It's still unknown. And then you would go.
So post would be post props, and then and then author would be author props. Yeah.
The lot. At least now it's what happens? It's on one line, yeah. So what's the lot? It's post and then authors unknown.
Authors is authors props. And if you hover on authors props,
unresolved.
Cannot
hang
find
on. Name.
Above that.
Oh,
so above that, have you got
props.
author props? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's still not gonna. Let's go authors because it's an array. Oh, no. I have to do an array. Oh, no, it's here already. Is it like this? Array?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Because that's just one, because it goes and gets the number, so it's not an array anymore, it's just the index. So then technically the authors are an array of that type. And this should be author props. Am I tripping?
But get static props is going to be coming back. Post is coming back as an array anyway. Okay, so authors is... What is authors saying now for authors is still unknown?
It's unknown everywhere. Matt, where are you? Look at all. And the image tag is... Ooh, do not do this. Let's give a quick win here. Alt avatar for... Let's just add a red line. Yeah, I mean, everything else worked great, but type post props. So here, when I hover over this, I can see all of it. And then it's unknown. Why? Get static props, export, returns an object that has props, post, and authors.
I wonder if it works in index because we're calling them as separate functions and then pulling them into a promise of all of them and then returning them as one big group inside of props, because we've got, if you look at index, where we've got the get static props, which is about halfway down.
Yeah, it calls the function with everything.
So we've got the const, which is promise.all, and then when we return it, we're returning props, home, posts, and external articles. So we are getting our props.
So does it infer from... It looks like it's inferring from this get static props.
So yeah, we're calling it in, like we're calling the post starter and the articles separate.
But functions. I would think if we are in the post page and this post page has a get static props, to me, like it's... Hang on. I'll try something silly. Is that the home page? I didn't need the string on the first one. I just want to see now if in this page, if I go infer get static props, let me get rid of that. Let's see if authors props has that foo bar. No. What about if I add it here?
Hang on, because authors props there, you're not defining what you're not setting it to be authors specifically.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the whole...
right.
I'm trying to get the whole object to see where... Yeah, okay, so this is coming from this one.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Like it. What? And the yo was here as well. Now it's a string, it knows. And if I go number, it's gonna tell me cats or something. Okay, so when I pass the post data, the what? It's gonna be a thing where I forgot to await something, or so you know, like remember, I don't know.
So let's
hang on before I forget. Const data, we await it here.
So what's that error on the awaiting? That one.
Yeah, that's the related authors. No, because yes, okay. I think I don't know. We never passed related authors. Yeah, it is part of the. Oh my god, this is like complete gibberish to me. Type undefined is not. So what's undefined? Oh, is it because we assume that it might be undefined, so we should be like confident?
Yeah, because that's gonna be post. Yeah.
Yes, because related is an array. Like it's gonna be an empty array. It's never gonna be undefined. It's always an empty array if there's no related authors.
And what's the error there now?
Why is that red?
Oh, possibly null. So just wrap that in if post.length.
I would think because we dot map. Oh no, we don't do any map here. Yeah, we're just here. Can I go as array or something? TypeScript. What? So we go if. No, post that related authors dot length. Is that what's called a type guard? I feel like it's doing complete random. I don't know.
Like type narrowing or whatever it's called.
And I borked it.
I wonder if we can use
post related authors blah blah blah. So it can be null, yeah. That's what it's saying. It's like, hey, I can be null. Be careful. That.
And then author slug is red as well.
Yeah, the string can be null because we might not have the string. Okay, look at this. It is terrible, but that's gonna fix it. But then if you do that, you don't get the. I just don't. If and post dot related authors dot length. What, do I have to go bigger than 0? No, because 0 is falsy. Why is that?
No, if it has length, it'll be.
Oh yeah, it's null. It's not an empty set. If and then I have to return what otherwise? Just an empty object?
Yeah, just return under that.
What, like this? Return.
Yeah, just be an empty object. It doesn't have to be the object. Because post is possibly null. Interesting.
And then we couldn't. Oh, but if I go back to this, now it's gonna say it can't be undefined. Can you tell I'm a CSS and design engineer?
No, what if we just? What if we just work around
Stop
this. And if we just go back to all that kind of stuff, where we go back to the authors
in the post,
because we're building this, we know what the types are, so we can just add
an author type.
at the minute.
Yeah, like the thing that blocks me is trying to infer. Like, if I was doing type author props equals, if I did this, name string. Oh, it auto fixed my name too. Avatar string slug string strong. And then authors is an author props array. Is it all fixed now? Oh, he's left me. He left me. He's back.
I didn't leave you. If the internet here is, I need an Ethernet port.
So what I've done while you bailed on me is I just say, hey, we know what the type prop. We're not gonna infer it. It's just a name, an avatar, and a slug. Why is it why? Because I forgot the column. And look, I feel like that fixed everything.
Which is fine for now, but the caveat to that will be that we don't. If we changed authors, we'd have to change it here as well, which is not ideal.
Yeah, the inference is nice because it kind of.
Yeah.
I'm going for the least amount of red squiggles, which is.
Yeah.
There's still squiggles, but yeah. So I've never used the infer from get static props, but it makes a ton of sense because if you change what it's passed, it knows that. Where now what you were saying is we hard coded the props, and then if we add a Twitter bio, we're gonna have to go here and say Twitter bio string. Whereas if it was added here, like the yo, like you can see here, if I added this in the props, in the post, because this is inferring, now post props also has yo as a property, which is nice. Oh, you're gone again. Leaves the little square. We've lost. This is the internet in Australia at 12 o'clock. Oh, 12:45. Lunchtime, people start streaming Netflix and everyone loses internet. Hello. I was really explaining the audience about internet at lunchtime and 7 p.m. when people stream and we lose internet.
Yeah, there's a lunch break happening for sure.
So I don't know if you saw this, but I was explaining what you were saying, that this is hard-coded.
Yeah.
And so to demonstrate this, I moved the yo property inside the post. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, because this post prop is inferring what comes from get static props, it will now also have the yo prop, which is exactly why we use that. It's like it's automatically creating the type based on what you return.
Yeah, which is really, really nice. So if you do change types or whatever, it'll expect that the type will change as well, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like dynamic stuff instead of hard-coded is always, most of the time, a good idea.
Yeah. I reckon we throw this up in a branch so I can have a look at this, because there is a way for sure.
And now also I realize I should have gone like this because they're not required. Yeah, I think that is a good thing post stream to fix the types. Yeah, I've added the question marks because author's data is actually maybe on a slug string or no. Question mark makes it undefined, but the slug cannot be undefined. It's either there or not. Okay. Format. Now we've broke the names. I don't want to continue doing that. See the dogs telling me this is it. But if we look at the,
I think this is the perfect segue for you to like. This is where you do your call out to Matt Pocock of like, help, please.
Yes, Matt, if you're listening, hang on. I'll go full screen with the dogs barking to really show the pain. Matt.
Hugo has a question in the chat of like, well,
help us. There you go. I've done it. Hugo, hang on. We're gonna let's go back to split view. We've seen enough of code. What are we showing, Hugo? What are you trying to do? It's a very good question. Short story is if I go back here in my screen share, what we're trying to do is infer the props. So we already do this for the. We basically have a get static props function here, and it returns a bunch of stuff. It returns posts, it returns post data, and authors data. And then we want to infer the props of these like we do for the posts. We infer it from get static props.posts, and it works perfectly. It gives us that slice, which is the post. Don't mind this authors, that's a different thing. That's a property on the post. What we want is this one to be discovered to be essentially that. That's the hard-coded props, but we want it to do that instead and get authors. But when we do that, it's unknown for some reason. What? Haven't saved. Don't tell me it's gonna work now. Is it working now?
No, surely not.
Author props is what? Hey, there's nothing has changed since we tried last time. It's an author props and then it's an array of that. Are you kidding me?
Aren't we hand feeding it with the? No, we're hand feeding it though.
Still?
Oh no, we're not. Oh, so okay, so you did break it.
I did fix it by. There you go, Hugo. That's what we're trying to do. We tried for like half an hour and it kept saying unknown, unknown, unknown.
So wait, we went through all of that and you just didn't save it?
Oh no, I saved constantly.
Oh, okay.
Let's try this. If I move it to post, now it should be, yeah, it's up there with it. And this one is broken. If I move it back out. No, I kept saving every single time.
Oh, that's weird.
That's the demons of live demos.
I suppose it was that good old restart live demo, a restart TypeScript server or whatever it was. That's
yeah, so
fun.
this one is red because the author.name is optional. It would be so much simpler to make it like no one's going to create an author and not have a name.
Well, this is the part of in the Keystatic schema of the validation. We don't have is required at the minute. That's coming, but you can have it set to minimum of 4 or whatever, and it will still give this error, but you can be relatively sure that you'll get something. But once we have the is required, then you won't need to sort of dance around the guarding.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how to fix that thing. Basically, it's like it knows that what we've discovered, or not discovered, we said that name and avatar are optional. But the slug can be null as well, so basically everywhere we make assumptions, we shouldn't.
Yeah. Once the is required comes in, we'll be laughing. Which is in Keystone, and we're just porting it across in a minute for that.
This is what we've...
Yeah.
So when you say that, Hugo, do you mean... what I go is...
So if you go... yeah, but there's a reload. If you start typing TypeScript, there's...
Reload project?
No, if you...
What I usually do, which is like super
if you start writing TypeScript, there's a restart TS server.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so that's very good to know because I wouldn't have done that. Yeah, so we still have the post can be null. So yeah, it tells us that. So that's where you would like check what, like this? But then what? Oh my god. Basically, you only, the post can be null.
Yeah, so just if post
Between-
return this, if post.
But can I do that inside the promise.all? I thought my post and was like just a shorthand for if post.
Maybe not. Maybe it needs to be in a non-nullable. That's Hugo's. Hugo's really helpful. We should bring Hugo in.
Yeah. Reach the to be fair to us, it's like almost 1 p.m. We didn't have lunch. I have these lights, the whole thing. It's not my best work. Non-nullable. I feel like it could be null in case the slug doesn't match anything. But then if I go if post before having the whole thing here, then it's gonna, here it's not gonna be. Do you function check? What? To do like this? Empty object? That's horrible. Does it fix
It is
everything?
horrible.
Well, if there's, if
I mean, explain to me the difference between horrible and working.
Yeah, if there is a post, we do the await stuff. Otherwise, we just give it an empty object. So here it's gonna be good stuff or just an empty object. Although the author's data is an array, so it should be an empty array. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Anyway, I don't think we need to solve this right now, but there's a lot of non-read until you get there. Name, author of the map, yeah, it still just questions everything because they all.
Yeah, they're all possibly null because they're not required as a default.
But then if you go, but that means yeah.
Yeah. So in the Keystatic config where we have our schema, you can
go required.
You can do set a validation of minimum length of X, which is a bit of guarding around it.
Then it's not null, yeah. Field that's collection authors, yes. Okay, the name is the slug. So here.
Yeah, you can do validation and then an object of length. Yep, and then an object of min, which is not going to get rid of that, but you can be somewhat sure that something through because you can't continue.
You can't save it as an empty string, so it's going to be a string of one character. Yeah.
Yeah, which is different to having it as is required, which means it does. You can inherently expect that.
That's basically types it as a string at any time, because you can't save if it's not a string. It's a bit weird. Can you do that with the image too? There's no validation on image fields. Are you gone again? He's gone again. Anyway, so that should have the slug and name should be now. If we go back to here and we check what we infer from the authors, the names can still be undefined. Yeah, because it does. Yeah, okay, it doesn't know that the validation is gonna force it to save. But effectively, if you have that set up, if I create a new author, if I don't give it a name or try to save, it's going to say, even if there's a slug, I think if I try to save it, oh, okay, I've done something wrong then in the config. Anyway, I'm very tired and hungry, and I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Let's get just Tom to have some closure here. Here we go. I just announced haven't thought of using Zod. I think Keystatic itself uses Zod to define the config fields and stuff. And I don't have much experience with TypeScript. I've spent most of the last foreseeable past doing videos and content and demos and Tailwind
You've made it a
CSS
profession
stuff.
of not having to do that, haven't you?
Yeah, I haven't dove deep in the. I would love to. That's the next frontier for me to just like dive into TypeScript properly. I will get Matt's course and get serious about it. And he's gone again. All right, I'm gonna go back to split screen. And when Tom comes back for one more time, you should recommend him another internet provider. Let's see how long until Tom comes back. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap up. So I just want to summarize what we've done. Tom, he's here.
I think it's. I really think this is the internet trying to tell us that we're done.
Yes, I was saying exactly that. Just if you've joined for the last few minutes and you're like, what the hell is going on? The purpose of this stream was to implement that piece of UI as a related field. So we got posts, but we wanted we got posts and we wanted to have authors as a relationship field. And so we've done this. In Keystatic, we created an authors collection. That's the post, but we created authors. And then the post had a related authors, which is an array of relationship fields. And so
do you just want to jump back in? Yeah, because I think that's a good show off of creating an authors collections. I mean, we can have our names and slugs and our images like we have for Boris and Jed and Simon. And then bringing that into the post, we can have multiple people all linked up, which is very, very nice.
So the way it works, if I go to a post, so we have these authors like Boris that has name, and then we were able to go in the post and have multiple of them. So you have this like select your author. This is empty now because they've all been selected. But if I delete Simon and Jed, I can now go and select.
Because that's the old one. So that's how we started doing it before relationship.
Oh yeah. This
where
one
it was
is
just
a
a string, so there was no relationship to anything, and
yeah,
it was
this
just
is a
all
text string. I get confused, but the one we've done is the related authors here, and this one, if I delete Simon and Boris, is a selector. So you can see, please select, and then I can choose whoever I created in the authors array here, and it's a multi one-to-many. Let me save that. I've got notifications everywhere. Save that. And so now we have Jed and Simon in the ThinkMe learning loop. So if I go in my browser file explorer in VS Code, content, post, learning loop, we have these two here, related authors. And if you do not believe me, check this out. Oh, I'm going to regret this. No, I was going to do a split screen, but it's going to reveal whatever's behind, and I have no idea. Just take my word for it. I will add the last author, who's not there yet. We should probably have something that prevents you to select an existing one. Is that already the case? No, they're still here. Feature requests.
Well, what happens if you try to? What if you try to add them?
Let's add Jed. I guess we're gonna have two Jeds.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But at least let's see that if I go back, yeah, we got two Jeds. So I mean, from experience, we have the team working on Keystatic. We say stuff like this, and like 10 minutes, 2 hours later, whatever, it's like, oh, released in 0.57. So this is probably something.
I was going to come back to that because just touching on what Hugo said before about adding Zod or stuff like that, the feature implementation that happens on Keystatic at the minute is crazy. So I'm not sure if you've read Slack, but there's an update about directory can be configured like image fields. So there's a public path option that defines the use of the directory and accessible actual site, and the source URLs written in Markdoc will point to that right place. So it's like we got image with a functioning path, 2 days ago? And now it's already improved again to be doubled up in ways that are incredible. So
what has changed?
yeah. Oh yeah, we basically need to restart the stream because like new features have come in and we need to start again.
That's my week. Can I haven't watched the video. Can I put it on the stream?
Yeah,
I don't
see why
even
not.
like
Just
if I like, is it safe for work is what I mean. I mean, it's on the
I
stream now.
believe so. Yeah.
All right, let's play it. There's no sound, but
Let's find out together.
All right, so you can drag an image.
Oh, so you can drag an image. Oh, that's good.
And then select image, keystone, brr, brr, brr.
But I think as well.
Oh, there's an image. I don't even know. Like,
no, that's using. No, but that's using the Markdown syntaxed version, so you don't have to have a separate image component. I think.
Oh, so yeah, Emma's gonna show us the code. I love, like, this is how we discovered the feature implementation. It's just literally a little demo. Here's what we've done. Oh, it's a Markdown image indeed. Ah, so it renders the image instead of just giving you the path to.
Yeah.
We used to just have the well, you've seen like for the last hour and so. This is what we get. We get that, just the image name. Or if I go what's that? That's a post. If I go in.
But also to preview, we'd have to have a custom image component.
Yeah.
Even if you just wanted to render the base of image.
This is cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So this is our life right now. Just
this is essentially it. We do something for what, 2 hours, and then it's like, yep, that's outdated, and ignore it.
Yeah. This is why I'm trying to do a mix of streaming live to discover stuff, so it kind of exposes some visibility instead of just writing docs that are immediately out of date. And I need to learn it to be able to write about it. So doing a stream helps me learn, and then helps people learn alongside. I keep looking to the side because this is where my stuff is. I need a little. What I'm saying is I need a little. How is it called? Stream Deck to just press.
You don't have a Stream Deck? They're great.
I have a keyboard though. I can map the MIDI keyboard.
Get rid of that. Stream Deck.
But I had a teleprompter. I still have a teleprompter, but it's that big. Yeah, it takes the whole thing, and then you can't access the camera, flip screen, and buttons and stuff. And so it just, unless you're doing streaming live, which I've just started doing now, it's more annoying than helpful.
Yep.
And so, so I used to do the whole stream looking right now like I do in the lens, because I was like seeing the screen behind. And now I've moved to talking to you like this again. Oh well, there's worse problems.
Hugo, do you want to show Hugo the landing page for Keystatic?
Hugo, let me pull the comment.
That is what we've been working with, Hugo. It's yeah.
Is this Sanity? No, it's not Sanity. It is Keystatic. Keystatic.thinkmill.com.au. So first thing to know, it's in construction.
Share the screen.
I'm not sharing. See, that's why you get paid the big bucks.
One of us streams professionally, one of us.
Yeah, I'm yellowing it. This is the Keystatic website. First thing to note is it's a in construction. You've just seen we had a new feature dropping while we streamed. But essentially, to get started, there's not much documentation now, but we've created this like starter. If you start from completely blank, you just have the Keystatic admin, which is, let's be careful you just get that, but no front end at all, or the front end just says go to the back end, just a text link in Times New Roman. But then we have this marketing landing page, and we have this blog template, which is the one we've been working on today, where we added this, because if you go on the live one, it's just it's a text one instead. So Keystatic is free. It will always be free. I don't want to go in pitch mode, but you can try it out with any of these. You can go see the preview. Oh, I like how I love how Arc does that. And then if you like it, you say, I want to persist this. You get Command O, and it promotes it to a full page.
It's a fast-moving project. I mean, I was just having a look at the tagging in the Keystatic project. One of the earliest tags for when it was open was 3 weeks ago.
Look at
So
this.
that is moving insanely fast.
Look at this. Because the slugs have changed, my testimonials are all gone from the demo.
Oh,
So I'm gonna go fix that after the stream. We had
Yeah.
a very, very nice masonry-ish with CSS columns list of what do you call them, testimonials. That's the pace of the price of like rapid innovation and progression is like some breaking changes happen, which is why we had to put this disclaimer like you can play with it, but there's gonna be some
Yeah.
churn. But I mean that's how you can move fast and do really cool things. We're gonna
Yeah.
do a few more templates. If you're interested, you can fill that up. Join the GitHub discussions. There's always interesting stuff in there. If you want to know if it's going to be paid, you can have the answer. The answer is no.
Mhm.
Hey, how to view? Yep. So yeah, just get involved if you're interested. You can play with it.
Yeah.
All
We also have a Keystatic Twitter account and Mastodon as well. That's all on there. So worth checking out as well if you want to poke around. But also just reach out. Like if you want to chat about something specific, you go. Yeah, hit us
Yes.
up.
I have started putting. I don't know if from here I can navigate one up. All of this is public. You can find it pretty much where I just clicked on the. From here, I clicked on Quick Start Guide. Because I'm logged in. Oh no, it's like the yeah. All of this space is public, and you can see we need to get better at release notes. Hint hint. But if you want to use with Astro, I wrote a guide on how to set up with Astro. Took the time to make nice screenshots. What to do, step. Here's how to get some data. Woohoo! Happy ending. The same with Remix, Next.js. And then I tried document as I learned. For example, I learned about the slug field the other day, and I did a video instead. So it's kind of like ad hoc. Some of them have text, some of them have examples. But it's a good way to get started. And the most important bit is just come in the GitHub discussions and stuff.
Big time. Yeah, I think it's been really fun, and the editing experience is great, which is a great. It's from the basis of what we've done with Keystone and the document editor there. So there's some really powerful stuff, which is surprisingly useful under the hood there. So keep an eye out.
Keep an eye. Yeah, we barely touched on it, but to me the coolest feature is the document editor with the React components preview and then also renderer. It lets you do this typical like page building where you have a really nice typography blog, but then in the middle you want like a cool React demo of like something interactive. If you look at Josh Como's website, Josh is an incredible educator, designer, developer, everythinger. His blog is full of like, I think it's built with Next.js, but you've got like a blog post, and then in the middle you have, hey, play with this interactive demo, and you can do that sort of stuff of storytelling by putting your React component in the middle of you could build that thing from the WYSIWYG editor, content editor, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go have some lunch here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Touch some grass outside.
Thanks everyone for watching and bearing with us with some things there. But I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one now.
Yep. All right.
Awesome.
See you later. Peace.
See ya.